Alright, Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. Okay, so this video is the explanation video lah, okay, for chapter 5. So we are going to start with 5.1 first. So in chapter 5 we have two subtopics. The first one is 5.1 alkene and the second one is 5.2 alkene. Okay, so for the 5.1 first, we are going to cover the part A, and then we are going to the second video which will cover the part B of alkene. Okay, so let's get started. Alright, so this is the Alkanes Overview lah. So we have the general formula of alkane, drawing and naming the compound using IUPAC nomenclature, and then we are going to explain the physical properties and then the reaction of alkane in the second part of the subtopic. Okay, so let's go see what are the things that we are going to cover in part A. So the learning outcome that we are going to cover in part A is the first one. We are going to define and classify the hydrocarbons into aliphatic and aromatic, and then we are going to classify into saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. And then second one, we are going to state the general formula for alkane. So for open chain alkane, the general formula is CnH2n plus 2, where n is larger or equal to 1. Okay, and for cycloalkane, the general formula is CnH2n, where n must be larger or equal to 3. Okay, so the third one for the LO for this part A is we are going to draw the structures and name the compound according to the IUPAC nomenclature for straight chain and branch alkane. Okay, so for parent chain less than or equal to carbon 10. And then for cyclic alkane from C3 to C6 and alkyl group. Okay, so now let's get started into the introduction for hydrocarbon. Okay, so for hydrocarbon, it contains only carbon and hydrogen. Okay, so it can also be classified into two main types. Okay, aliphatic hydrocarbon as well as aromatic hydrocarbon. For aliphatic hydrocarbon, there are three, which are alkanes, which we are going to cover in this first subtopic 5.1, and then there is alkene, okay, that we are going to cover in part subtopic 5.2. Okay, and then alkyne. So alkene is all single bond compound. Alkene has double bond and alkyne is a triple bond compound. Okay, and only alkene is a saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, so this is the example lah. So this is the example of alkene and this is the example of alkane. Okay, now for aromatic hydrocarbon, it contains aromatic or benzene ring, which is also known as arene. So the molecular formula for aromatic is C6H6. Okay, so this is the example of aromatic hydrocarbon, which is benzene. Alright. Now, our hydrocarbons can also be classified into saturated hydrocarbon as well as unsaturated hydrocarbon. So for saturated hydrocarbon, it contains only carbon-carbon single bond and has no multiple bond. Okay, so it is said to be saturated because it has the maximum number of bonded hydrogen atom. Okay, so for alkane and cycloalkane, they are both saturated hydrocarbon. Okay. For unsaturated hydrocarbon, okay, it contains multiple bond. For example, we have alkene, which has double bond. We have cycloalkane, which also have double bond. And then we have alkyne, which has triple bond. And then we have arene, which is aromatic benzene ring. Okay, so this is for saturated and unsaturated hydrocarbon. Okay, now we have gone into the introduction. Now we want to go into the alkane. So we are going to name and draw the alkane according to IUPAC nomenclature. So what does IUPAC means? So IUPAC stands for International Union of Pure and Applied Chemistry. So IUPAC nomenclature must have parent chain. So parent chain refers to the longest continuous chain of carbon atoms. And then we have substituent, which refers to the position of alkyl group in the parent chain. Okay, so now we are going to look into step by step on how we are going to name the structure of the alkane by using the IUPAC nomenclature. So before that, okay, before we going to step by step into naming the alkane, we are going to look at the parent's name of the alkane that we have in this syllabus. The first one, we are going to look at the parent's name. So if we have only the if the longest carbon chain is contain only one carbon atom, so the name for that parent alkane is methane. Okay, if we have two longest chain of carbon atom, the name of the parent alkane is ethane. And then for 3 carbon, propane, and then butane, pentane, hexane, until the 10 carbon atom is decayed. Okay, so this is the basic naming for alkane. Okay, where we have 1 until 10 carbon atom. Okay, so this is the molecular formula lah. Alright, so the molecular formula refers to the general formula CnH2n plus 2. So for example, if we have 2 carbon atoms, so C2H2 plus 2, which is C2H2 times 2 plus 2, C2n plus 2 kan. So we have C2H6, which is this. Okay, so this is for the alkane parent's name. Okay, for the longest chain. So alkane, dia punya IUPAC names have the n suffix. So at the end of the name must have n. Methane, ethane, propane, butane, pentane, and until decane. Okay, so this is the list of substituents. Okay, this is not only used for alkane, but for alkane, for all other organic stuff in this organic chapter lah, until chapter 13. Okay, so for the list of substituent, kita ada methyl, ethyl, propyl, isopropyl, butyl. Okay, isobutyl, side-butyl, third-butyl, neopentyl. So this is the example lah. So you have to remember the structure of the substituents, okay, for you to name the substituents later on. Okay, and then we also have the list of substituent for the cyclo. So for this example, this is cyclopropyl, this is cyclobutyl. So the ring is actually act as a substituent. Okay, and then we have phenyl. So phenyl is actually the benzene ring without one hydrogen. Okay, and then we have benzyl. So benzyl lebih kurang macam phenyl, but it has CH2 dekat benzene ring. Okay, and then we have the most common substituents lah, like bromo, chloro, fluoro, iodo, hydroxyl, amino, cyano, and nitro. Okay, so you can refer to this note when you are going to name the alkane and alkene during your tutorial question later on. Okay, now we are going into naming the alkane, okay, using IUPAC nomenclature step by step. So first step, okay, when you are going to name the alkane, okay, first you have to determine the parent's name. So how can you determine the parent's name of the alkane? By selecting the longest continuous chain of the carbon atom. Okay, now we have this example here. We have this molecule. So these are the same molecule. Okay, but if we count the number of carbon atoms to find the longest continuous chain, we see that there are 2 different chain of an equal length. So maksudnya dia ada, both of this chain ada 7 carbon, okay, but dia punya path of the cara dikira tu berbeza. Contohnya for this one, kita ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So ini kita punya, this is our longest carbon chain. Okay, macam ni. Okay, zigzag. Okay, but we also have the longest carbon chain if we count it like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So ini pun kita boleh kira sebagai longest chain, but both have 7 carbon. Okay, 7 carbon equal length. Okay, tapi kita nak pilih mana? So we have to choose the one with more number of substituent. So in this case, for the first one, the number of substituents present here is 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, compared to the second one, we only have 1, 2, 3 substituent. Okay, so since this chain has more substituent, so we choose this chain untuk kita name our alkane. Okay, so kita tak choose this one. Okay, sebab dia ada fewer substituent compared to the red one. Okay, so this is the first step. You have to find the longest chain, and then kalau ada sama, if you have two longest chain, then we have to choose the one yang ada more substituent. Okay, now second step. After we choose the one with the longest chain and with the most substituent, okay, now we have to number the chain. Okay, kita nak numberkan parent chain tu. So kita nak start from mana? We have to start numbering the longest chain beginning with the end of the chain nearer the substituent. So kita nak start numbering dekat side yang paling dekat dengan substituent. So in this case, kalau kita number from bawah sampai atas, so kita start pada 1, 2. So our nearest substituent is at carbon number 2. If we start numbering from carbon 1 dekat atas ni, so 1, 2, 3, so our nearest substituent is at carbon number 3. So bila kita tengok yang ni, so kita tahu kita akan start numbering dekat carbon yang dia punya substituent paling dekat. So in this case, kita akan start numbering from bawah. Sebab apa? Sebab substituent dekat carbon number 2. Kalau kita start numbering daripada bawah. Okay, so that's why kita numbering from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now we have numbering the longest chain, the parent chain of alkane. Now we are going to proceed to step number 3. So now, using the rule in step number 2, kan tadi kita dah number the parent chain of alkane. So now we can locate the position of substituent. So the position and the name of substituent must be written in front of the parent chain. So maksudnya kita akan tulis kita punya parent name dulu, baru kita tulis kita punya substituent name kita. Okay, now sekarang ni we want to learn on how to write the position and the name of the substituent. Okay, so for us to name the substituent and the position of the substituent, kita kena tahu dua rule ni. Yang pertama, we have to use hyphen, okay, the dash symbol ni, to separate the number and the weight. Contohnya, kita ada metal substituent. Okay, so metal substituent berada pada carbon number 2 of the parent chain. So, kita letak kat sini 2. Okay, 2 dash metal. Okay, sebab between number and weight, kita letak dash tu. And then, kita letak parent name kita, hexane. Okay, so 2 metal hexane. Okay, what if we have two same substituent? Contohnya, kita ada 2 metal. So, kita akan ada dua position lah metal kan. So dekat sini kita akan separatekan number ni menggunakan comma. So 2 dimethyl octane. Maksudnya ada 2 metal berada pada carbon number 2. So 2 dimethyl octane. So octane ni dia punya parent's name. Okay, so this is how you write. This is the basic rule lah on how you write the position and the name of substituent. Okay, now step number 4. What if we have 2 or more substituent? Okay, so if we have 2 or more substituent, so give each substituent a number corresponding to its location on the longest chain. So macam mana kita nak arrange substituent ni, sebab dia ada dua substituent, excuse me. But how are we going to know when we write the naming for the alkane? How are we going to know which one comes first? Okay, so kita kena arrange our substituent according to the alphabetical order. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G tu kan. So now kita ada contoh. Kita ada chloro substituent dan juga metal substituent. So chloro substituent bermula daripada huruf C. So C dulu baru M. So chloro dulu baru metal. So bila kita write the naming for alkane, so kita akan start dengan chloro baru metal. So chloro pada carbon number 3, so 3 chloro And then methyl pada carbon number 2. So 2-methyl, parent name dia hexane, for example. So this is the example lah. So you have to arrange the substituent according to the alphabetical order. So bila kita susun our substituent according to alphabetical order, kita boleh ignore the prefix di, tri, tetra, sec dan juga tet. Okey, sebab kita tahu kan kalau kita ada 2 metyl kan kita panggil dimethyl, trimethyl, tetramethyl kan. So kita akan ignore di ni. Kita akan start tengok daripada methyl. Methyl, propyl. So di, tri, tetra, sec dengan tet kita boleh ignore. Okey, tapi except for iso dengan neo sebab diorang ni part of the name of substituent tu. So kalau nampak iso dengan neo, kita kena include dalam alphabetical order ni. Okey, cuma this 5 saja yang kita boleh exclude from alphabetical order. Okey, means kita kena tengok nama substituent lah. Contohnya kalau di, methyl, kita bukan start, nampak dia D lah, so dia dulu bukan. Kita tengok daripada M. So dia start from M, methyl. Jadi kita akan susun dekat belakang-belakang sebab dia M. Walaupun dia ada di kat depan. So kita ignore dia punya di tu. Okey, sebab kita nak susun ikut alphabetical order of substituent. Except untuk iso dengan neo, kita akan ambil kira lah dia punya alphabetical order. Okey, so itu untuk step number 4. So we are going to proceed with step number 5. So step number 5 dia kata, if 2 or more substituents are present on the same atom, use that number twice. Okay, contohnya we have 2 different ataupun 2 same substituent dalam atom yang sama, pada atom yang sama. Contoh kat sini kita ada ethyl dan juga methyl, dua-dua attached to the same carbon which is at the third carbon of hexane. Jadi kita akan guna number tu 2 kali lah. So 3 ethyl, 3 methyl, hexane. So parent name mesti dekat belakang sekali, okay? So hexane belakang sebagai parent name. Alright. And then step yang ke-6. What if there are 2 or more identical substituent present? So kita guna yang di, tri, tetra ni yang macam saya cakap tadi. If we have 2 methyl, so kita akan letak dimethyl. Kalau ada 3 methyl, trimethyl. Kalau ada 2 ethyl, diethyl. Okay, and then kita akan use comma untuk separate the number. So kalau kita punya methyl berada pada carbon yang berbeza, kita akan letaklah 2, 3. Sebab apa? Methyl yang pertama pada carbon number 2, methyl yang kedua pada carbon number 3. So 2, 3 dimethyl hexane. What if the methyl is on the same carbon? So 2, 2 dimethyl hexane. Okay, kita akan tulis number tu 2 kali. Okay, so now tadi kita punya step 1 dengan step 2 kan kita ada we have our example untuk molekul kita kan. So kita nak tengok macam mana kita nak naming this compound. Okay, so tadi kita dah number the longest chain ataupun the parent chain from bawah sampai atas. So 1 start from below, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So starting from the bottom, kita dah number this alkane. And then kita tahu kita punya substituent kita untuk methyl pada carbon number 2, methyl yang kedua pada carbon number 4 and methyl yang ketiga pada carbon number 5. And we have our ethyl substituent at carbon number 3. Okay, so sekarang ni kita tahu kita punya longest chain of carbon kita adalah 7 carbon, which is heptane. So kita tulis kita punya parent name kita heptane dulu. Okay, now kita barulah decide kita punya substituent. So kita ada 2 substituent, ethyl dan juga methyl. So according to alphabetical order, E dulu baru M. So ethyl dulu baru methyl. So ethyl pada carbon number 3. So 3 ethyl. Okay, 3 dash. Okay, ethyl dash. Okay, and then kita ada 1, 2, 3. Kita ada 3 methyl. So trimethyl. And then methyl tu pada carbon number 2, 4 and 5. So dash 2, 4, 5. Okay, dash ada 3 methyl, so trimethyl heptane. Okay, so this is how you name the alkane. Okay, using IUPAC. Alright. Now, what if the branching occurs at equal distance from either end of the longest chain? So maksudnya kalau kita numberkan daripada kiri ke kanan ataupun daripada kanan ke kiri, kita punya branch tu dia punya tempat dia sama. Okey, maksudnya dia berada kat sini, sini, sini. Okey. macam mana kita nak tahu mana yang kita nak pilih. Okay, so if there is a branching occurs at an equal distance, okay, at either end of the longest chain, kita choose name that gives the lower number at the first point of difference. Contohnya, daripada kiri ke kanan, the number of substituent is 2, 4, 5. Okay, daripada kanan ke kiri, the number of substituent is 2, 3, 5. So 2 sama. So between 3 and 4, number 3 is lower kan. So kita akan pilih yang atas ni. So 2, 3, 5 is the one that we choose untuk this naming. So 2, 3, 5 trimethyl hexane. Okay, yang 2, 4, 5 ni kita takkan pilih lah. Alright. So tadi kita tengok naming of alkane for the straight chain ataupun branch alkane. Sekarang ni kita nak tengok how to name the cycloalkane. Okay, so what is cycloalkane? So cycloalkane is alkane which carbon atoms are joined in ring. So it is known as saturated hydrocarbon. Okay, because it has the maximum number of bonded hydrogen lah, sama macam alkane yang straight chain ataupun branch. Okay, cuma dia punya general formula dia berbeza untuk cycloalkane. So untuk cycloalkane, general formula dia is CnH2n, where the n start from 3 lah. Okay, sebab kita nak form ring kan. Kalau kita ada 2 carbon je, kita tak boleh nak form ring. So kita kena ada at least 3 carbon for us to form ring. Okay, so kita akan start from carbon 3 lah. Okay, so contohnya C3H6. Okay, C4H8. Okay, according to dia punya general formula. Okay, now kita nak namakan kita punya cycloalkane. So first step, so if the cycloalkane has only one ring, okay, so kita will name the cycloalkane. Kita nak tambah dia punya prefix tu dengan cyclo. So cyclo, lepas tu belakang dia nama alkane tu. For example, we have 3 carbon. So carbon tu, kalau 3 carbon, alkane dia propane. Tapi dia cyclo, tambah cyclo, cyclopropane. Kita ada 4 carbon, so dia butane. Tapi dia cyclo, so cyclobutane. Kita ada 5 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, jadi dia pentane. Tapi dia dalam bentuk ring, cyclo, jadi kita tambahlah cyclopentane. So itu macam, that is how you name your cycloalkane. Okay, step number 2. Okay, if there is only one substituent present, okay, so it is not necessary for you to designate its position. So apa maksud designate its position? Maksudnya kita tak perlu nak numberkan position tu. Okay, we don't have to number its position because it only has one substituent. So of course kita akan start from number 1 here. Okay, jadi you tak perlu nak letak 1 chlorocyclopropane. So there is no need for you to do that. So you just straight up chlorocyclopropane, methyl cyclohexane. Okay, because there is only one substituent on your cycloalkane. Okay, again, your parent, so kita punya kita ni, cycloalkane kita sebagai parent kan. Jadi dia mesti belakang. So cyclopropane sebagai parent, jadi kita punya substituent chloro dekat depan lah. So chlorocyclopropane. So kita punya metal substituent, kita punya parent kita adalah cyclohexane. Jadi kita letak belakang sekali cyclohexane, depan ni methyl. So methyl cyclohexane. Okay, now step 3. What if you have 2 substituent on your cycloalkane? So kalau kita ada 2 substituent, we have to number the carbon beginning with the substituent according to alphabetical order. Okay, so kita akan number in the direction that will gives the next substituent the lowest number. Okay, we have this example here. So now kita ada, ini panjang ni, ini jangan lupa ini ada C kan. So C ni actually CH2 sebenarnya. Okay, so CH2, CH3 is actually ethyl. So we have ethyl dan juga methyl. So dia kata if we have 2 substituent, we have to start the numbering beginning with the substituent according to its alphabetical order. So between ethyl dan juga methyl, kita will start with ethyl dulu. We will start at ethyl first. Sebab ethyl E, methyl M. Okay, so we will number 1 starting from ethyl. Okay, the numbering begins at ethyl. So number 1 here, and then kita akan letak number 2 dekat arah yang number the direction that will give the next substituent the lowest number. So kalau kita number in this direction, jadi kita akan numberkan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the methyl will be at carbon number 2. But kalau kita number in this direction, so kita punya methyl kita akan berada pada carbon number 6, which is not preferred. Okay, jadi kita akan number in this direction where methyl is at carbon number 2. So we will name this alkane as 1 ethyl 2 methyl cyclohexane. So disebabkan kita punya cyclohexane is our parent chain, parent alkane, jadi dia dekat belakang lah. So cycloalkane, so ethyl 1 ethyl, lepas tu 2 methyl. Okay, so this is the naming that we are going for. Okay, now what if there are 3 or more substituents? So kalau kita ada 3 ataupun more substituents in our alkane, in our cycloalkane, so we have to begin the numbering at the carbon that will give the substituent the lowest side of alkane. Okay, contoh saya ada buat 2 jenis numbering lah. First one, saya start from this one secara clockwise. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the red one will give chloro number 1, will give ethyl number 3, and will give methyl number 4. So I put it here. And then what if I start the numbering from the opposite end? So I start from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I start it here, my chloro will be at carbon number 4, my ethyl will be at carbon number 2, and my methyl will be at carbon number 1. So I letak kat sini. So when I compare the set of locane yang mana yang ada lowest number, so set of locane ni ada 8. Ini 4 campur 2 campur 1, 7. Okay, so this set of locane will give the lowest number, which is 7. So I will choose this direction of numbering untuk naming this alkane. So 4 chloro, okay, sebab C dulu kan, 4 chloro, 2 ethyl, 1 methyl cyclohexane. Kita punya parent name kita dekat belakang sekali. Okay, so this is how you name your cycloalkane kalau dia ada 3 or more substituents. So now, what if the straight chain that is attached on our cycloalkane is much more longer, ataupun dia ada greater number of carbon compared to our cyclo. So if that's the case, then kita akan jadikan kita punya cycloalkane as our substituent. So in this case, dikata kat sini, when a single ring system is attached to a single chain with a greater number of carbon atoms. So biasanya carbon yang more than 5 lah. Okay, ataupun bila kita ada more than one ring system attached to a single chain, okay, then we are going to treat our cycloalkane as our substituent. So kita akan jadikan kita punya cycloalkane sebagai substituent. So kita contohnya dekat sini, kalau kita ada 3 carbon, so number of the carbon at ring 3 kan, so kita akan jadikan dia propyl. So cyclopropyl. Okay, so dia sekarang dah sebagai substituent. So katakanlah kita punya alkane tu pentane. So cyclopropyl pentane. So sekarang ni kita punya alkane dekat straight chain adalah kita punya parent name, sebab tu dekat belakang. Okay, sebab apa? The straight chain alkane is much more longer than our cycloalkane. Sebab itulah kita punya cycloalkane jadi kita punya substituent. Ataupun if we have more than one ring attached to a single chain, so itu pun kita akan jadikan kita punya cycloalkane sebagai substituent. Okay, so sekarang ni kita nak tengok contoh. Okay, yang ini maksud samalah. Dia kata in the case of cycloalkane with an attached alkyl substituent, the ring is the parent hydrocarbon. Unless that the substituent has more carbon than the ring, in that case the substituent is the parent hydrocarbon and the ring is named as substituent. So maksudnya sama macam dekat slide ni lah. Okay. Okay, so ni just further explanation. Okay. Now, kita tengok contoh. Ini yang tadi saya kata, kalau kita ada dua ring. Dua ring ni dia attach pada single straight chain. Okay, so kita akan jadikan kita punya ring ni, cyclo kita ni sebagai substituent. So, and then kita tengok kita punya parent chain. So, kita punya single chain ni sebagai parent chain. So, carbon number 1, carbon 2, carbon 3. Jadi, dia ada 3 carbon. Jadi, parent name dia propane. Okay, and this cyclohexane, okay, dia attach pada carbon number 1 dan juga pada carbon number 3. So, the position is 1, 3. Okay, ada 2 cyclo kan, jadi dicyclo. So, dia cyclohexane tapi tukar jadi substituent, jadi hexyl. So, 1, 3 dicyclohexyl propane. Okay, so this is how you name your cycloalkane. So, next, example yang kedua. Okay, kalau tadi saya kata, if we have our straight chain is much more longer than our ring chain. Than our cycloalkane. Okay, jadi, kita punya ring tu, kita akan jadikan sebagai substituent. Okay, tengok ring kita cuma ada 1, 2, 3, 4 carbon. Kita punya straight chain ada 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 carbon. So, this straight chain is much more longer than our ring. Jadi, kita punya straight chain ni sebagai kita punya parent name kita. Jadi, pentane. Parent name kita pentane. And then, kita akan start numbering daripada yang nearest substituent. So, nearest substituent kita adalah butyl ni kan, cyclobutyl ni. Jadi, pada carbon number 1. So, cyclobutyl pada carbon number 1, jadi 1 cyclobutyl pentane. Okay, so this is how you name your cycloalkane. Okay, kita dah habis kita punya part A for alkane. So, we are going to stop our video here. So, untuk part B, we are going to explain about the physical properties as well as the reaction of alkane. So, make sure you watch the second video as well for alkane part B. Okay, so we'll see you again in the next video. Alright, thank you. Assalamualaikum. Bye-bye.